Jim, lately I've come into contact with two other business people in the spiritual genre. And there's a commonality between them that kind of got me thinking. And both of these people are what I would call takers. You know, it's the type that you send them your email address and you're deluged with marketing stuff type of thing. Or you can tell that their conversations are tilted toward what's in it for me. And the part that got me thinking is we all have core pictures. And that's the main picture that you had coming into this lifetime as a spirit to work on. And my core picture is being taken advantage of. You know, and I can trace since childhood all these instances where I've been taken advantage of. There's a naivete, there's a trust. And so these two people coming up has brought that back to my awareness, this idea of everyone having a core picture. This time, this being taken advantage of, I saw it coming. Mm-hmm. Which was big for me to recognize this is what she's doing, this is what she's doing. Ah, okay, there's no judgment, no charge, just I recognize that, I don't have to go there.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about core pictures, because I know you have some, everybody has some.
Some? Really? Core pictures are really interesting because they are exactly that, what you said, core pictures. They kind of come with you into the body, or they come from a set of events that happen generally early on, traumatic events, embarrassment events, taking advantage of events, those kind of things that kind of rock your comfort zone. And they revolve around trust and lack of, safety and lack of, and
all core pictures have that commonality.
No, they all have peace. That's where they relate to. So somebody may have a safety issue as a core picture. Somebody may have been threatened as a kid. Somebody may have experienced a fire as a little person and they just can't get it out. So a lot of times a core picture, it has variations, but a core picture is a trauma in the nervous system. It's kind of where it lies. Or it comes with you
with the body.
So core pictures are interesting, but you just said something that really talks to your own personal growth. Mm-hmm. So all through your life you've been taken advantage of, and now, particularly as you do all this work, you cleaning out the body, cleaning out the nervous system, cleaning out the thoughts and the emotions, to be able to see it coming and know what it is and not be charged. That's a big accomplishment for a person in a general way. So, but each one of us has these core pictures, and again, in the context as we've talked about past weeks, this is all about your evolution. And so the configuration of the nervous system, thoughts and emotions, the electromagnetics in the body, all the fundamental vibrational structures that we carry, but we basically, as 3D humans, don't know about. As you begin to get more conscious of being conscious, the ability to manage your energy, and that's why Mastering Alchemy, it really is so valuable from the standpoint of it allows you to step back, build that platform, observe your reality without being the effect of the reality, and then choosing a direction that makes sense for you in the moment and for you long term. So that makes sense for you in the moment, though, is really the key piece, because if a person goes into a unconscious reactionary response, you're just repeating it over and over.
Well, what was helpful for me is being able to identify it and name it.
Yeah.
And even though years ago, when I first started this work, I was able to identify it and name it, that didn't affect it. I still got myself in situations. And it's just been the last 2 years, 3 years of cleaning that now this week, having that experience with those two women, I'm good job.
Good job, yeah.
Because I didn't go there. I didn't get sucked into their game, and I didn't throw energy at them.
Yeah, and you didn't have as much judgment in your own space this time.
Yeah.
So,
but you've had a similar thing with a core picture of yours.
Well, this is similar to what we talked about kind of last week when we talked about stealing in my space.
Yeah.
One of the core pictures in my space, all through my space, has been reaction to or kind of a really visceral dislike of authority. Mm-hmm. Now, it's kind of an interesting place to live my life, you know, playing in the roles that I've played as, you know, presidents of companies, advisor to the President of the United States, an elected official, all things that deal with both control and authority on this side, and on that side, not liking it. And the part that it has always been a trigger in my space goes all the way back to Atlantis, where people were dominated and controlled and abused. And so that whole level is very misaligned in my space. So you got these two pieces. So where is it in my space that in my normal walking around space, I'm talking to everybody, where I have, where I control or I take authority of?
Yeah.
And then where do I do it unconsciously, and where do I be conscious of it and recognize other people's needs in the process? And so that kind of combination of who are you in your walking around space, thinking that you're just living your life, but in fact you're in engagement with or reaction to a core picture.
Yeah.
And just like we talked about last week, it's a pebble in your backpack, and so this one's a little bigger rock in your backpack, but it's also one of those things that many times spirit people come into a lifetime to balance. Now, when you're a 3D person, would call this karma to a great extent. Karma just simply meaning finding balance in an off-balance situation. But when you start to step into the place that we play in Mastering Alchemy and begin to hold that fifth dimensional state of well-being, it's simply a choice that's available to, sits on your plate. I can continue to wear a dirty shirt, or I could choose to take the shirt off and put on a clean shirt. And so when you define it as karma, when you define it as my spiritual path, my burden to carry, that gets kind of heavy. And it's a core picture.
Yeah.
But when you can begin to move away from it and start to recognize you have choice, and you can begin to recognize it kind of from a point of delineation, this is me, and that's Shakespeare's theater, and here's how I relate to Shakespeare's theater, you begin to create an opportunity to allow yourself flexibility in moving around the core picture. And that's kind of what you've done here.
Yeah, and I had the privilege, or not privilege isn't the right word, both of these business owners, I interacted with them via the internet, via email. And so I had that distance. We weren't face to face, so there was not that level of challenge. I could get their email or get their marketing and just not do anything with it, just
observe it.
I had a space between me and them.
Yeah. So you had some room to choose.
Yeah.
So, but I think the point of this conversation really is this transitioning world is going to get more choppy, not bad or good. You're moving from point A to point B, and anytime that happens, there is disruption. So one of the key parts of this disruption is you can't take it with you. You can't take your baggage with you on this journey. And so things like core pictures are many times avoided. They are just there, and I'm aware of it, and I don't like this, and discounted, or everything that I do in my life, again, avoid being in a circumstance like that. Well, what happens is a lot of your well-being is over in that circumstance. It's just kind of clouded by a belief system and a energetic response of thought in the nervous system.
Yeah.
And so when you can begin to clean out that nervous system, create a little distance,
Yeah.
but it's not something that you run away from, distance. It's something you choose to step back and observe, and then begin to say, this has been very uncomfortable in my life, and how do I begin to rearrange that? So core pictures are very rearrangeable. Everything's rearrangeable. Everything is changeable. You can rearrange your entire past as you think it happened, and I will guarantee you it did not happen the way you think it happened. So knowing that in present time I can look at circumstances and recognize them for what value they added to me, and then choose to allow that to be something that's in my distance that I can walk away from, becomes a very valuable tool, not an excuse, not an avoidance, a tool to begin to smooth out the nervous system, change the emotional structure, step out of judgment. But a core picture's got a lot of electromagnetic fear, I'm not okay, and I think this is my plight in life. No, it's not. But those thoughts are what control core pictures. So for everybody listening, it has real value to you at this point in life, watching all the turmoil that's in the external, which is going to get more so, not less. And how do I navigate through the seams of the turmoil to step into a state of well-being that allows me to choose literally the life I want, hold out my hand and the apple appears because I think it. Very real opportunity when allowed to clear away some of these patterns.